Oh man, just thinking about this beer makes me want a burger. We'll get into that.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Anthony St. Clair, beer writer.
And I'm Jodie St. Clair, beer wife.
And this is Rogue Hazelnut Brown Nectar. So here's the whole thing with One in a Pint. I first encountered this beer in 2003. This is Rogue Hazelnut Brown Nectar from Rogue Ales in Newport, Oregon, right here on the Oregon coast. I was hungry for a beer one night, out with some friends. There's this bar over in downtown that did a weekly burger and brew special. So I got this like crazy decked out burger, bacon, sauteed mushrooms, all the goodness. And this was on tap. Friend suggested I try it, and I was like, all right, cool. Oh my gosh. So blown away by this beer. It is a gorgeous brown color, as you know, many beers are, I suppose. But just almost immediately the nut quality really starts coming through. You can already smell that. This is pretty special coming out of Oregon as well, because Oregon is actually like the hazelnut capital of the country. It's like 90-some% of America's hazelnuts are grown right here in Oregon. I mean, heck, you took the kids out for a walk one day and came across like people harvesting hazelnuts, right?
Yeah, we got to see how they gather them up, and because they fall to the ground and then they. Yes, I've been waiting for this.
Cheers.
Oh. You know, what strikes me is that it's not, like, the initial flavor is not hazelnut.
Yeah, that's
the
right.
The initial flavor is this kind of amber beer, and then after that, you get this, like, sweetness of the hazelnut.
Yeah, you get some of the hazelnut on the nose, but you're right. Like you first get that malt, and then the nut comes through, and it just weaves through so nicely. I was thinking about that when we were talking about doing this beer, because like there's not a ton of nut beers. Like it's not some crazy weird style, but it's not really like all that widespread. You know, it's not like IPAs where you can trip over IPAs anytime you go out.
At least in the Northwest.
At least in the Northwest. But I mean,
think that's different depending on where you go.
Yeah. But I think one of the strengths of a beer like this is, kind of like a chili beer or a Rausch beer, the smoked beers, it's that you don't want the nuts taking over. I mean, if all you want is nut flavor, you can get a bowl of nuts. But the way it comes through is like a good chili beer or a good bit of smoke. It enhances everything else, yet has its own little distinct dimension that makes it really fun.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! So apparently, this is a pretty popular beer from Rogue. It's one of their most distinct beers. I think it's pretty up there. I mean, it's gotten tons of awards over the years. Like they took a platinum in the World Beverage Competition 2018. They've gotten some different silvers from like the Brussels Beer Challenge 2017, stuff like that. So it's gotten some
well regarded
national and international world renown, and it just comes back to that interweaving. It's that nutty quality from the hazelnut, but not being too crazy, but taking like this really solid brown amber ale and just giving that little extra something that makes it special.
This would make a great dessert beer, I think, because the hazelnut definitely adds a little bit of sweetness to it. So, or it would go really well with like some cheese.
Yes.
Some strong cheeses.
Really good cheese.
So good. That would be so good.
It does go really well with a decked out burger. Oh my gosh. Thinking back to that night when I first had this, oh my goodness. That was a really good burger. And the beer really played off well with it. Now, of course, Rogue is pretty widely available, so there's a decent chance you could find a Rogue Hazelnut Brown Nectar in your area. If you can't, Like I said, there's not a ton of nut beers out there, but there are some you can keep an eye out for. Now, I am going to start with actually my personal current, one of my favorite top beers right now, which Jodie suggested we not do for this one because it's not as widely available. And that is actually the Filbert Brown from Sam Bond's Brewing here in Eugene. They don't have massively wide distribution, but if you can get your little beer glass mitts on one of those Filbert Browns, you really should. It is, I love this beer. I think the Sam Bond's even better.
If Filbert is also hazelnut.
Yeah.
I didn't learn that until I moved here.
Part of your Oregon education.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Another really good one is from out of Wisconsin, the New Glarus Fat Squirrel Nut Brown Ale. There's also from Tadcaster in Yorkshire, England, the Samuel Smith's Nut Brown Ale. That's kind of one of the hallmarks of the nut beer style. And that's a really, really tasty beer that's usually pretty decently available in the States. And then if you want to go away from the hazelnut and head down to the southeast of the U.S., there are a couple really good pecan beers, or pecan, depending on how you want to say things. But from out of Mississippi, there's the Lazy Magnolia Southern Pecan. And also from out of Louisiana, Abita does a really good pecan ale as well. So there are a few different things out there if you want to try a couple of these, maybe get a couple different ones and do like a nut ale tasting or something. They're such fun beers and pretty unique out there.
Yeah, and if you have a favorite of yours, we love to hear about other beers that are your favorites. So please let us know down in the comments below what your favorite nut brown or even just a brown ale.
Exactly.
Yeah. But especially if it's a nut brown ale, I would love to hear what else is out there.
I would too. I mean, since there aren't a ton out there, anytime you can learn about a new one, it's pretty fascinating. I mean, if it's a nut, odds are someone's brewed with it. I mean, brewers brew with almonds, coconuts.
I'm kind of hoping that people give us all these suggestions, and then when we travel, we're going to have this lovely list to pull from.
Oh, seriously.
So, yeah please do.
Yeah, help us fill out our tap list. So these beer reviews are made possible by my patrons on Patreon. Their ongoing support for my fiction and nonfiction helps us do really cool things like these beer reviews. So if you want to become part of that and become one of my wanderers, you can go to patreon.com/Anthony St. Clair, and there's a link down in the notes.
And thank you to our current patrons. What you're doing is helping us lead creative lives and create really fun stuff for you guys. So it makes a huge difference every time somebody is a patron.
Thank you for helping make it possible for me to drink beer and make money from doing it. You're wonderful people. Wherever you are, we hope you have a wonderful holiday season, or just, hey, no matter what, may you have a really tasty, wonderful beer in your hands. Cheers. Oh, maybe we need to get some burgers.